You studied for 6 hours, you reread your notes 3 times, you walk into the exam feeling ready, and suddenly your mind goes completely blank. But here's the scary part, your brain may not have forgotten the information. It may never have properly stored it in the first place. And this is where most people misunderstood forgetting. In this video, I am going to tell you 4 methods from the neuroscience research that you can use to avoid forgetting. So let's start with what actually memory is. Memory isn't one single process. Your brain has to do 3 different jobs: encode the information, consolidate it, and later retrieve it. And if you mess up even one of those steps, you can sit in an exam staring at questions you swear you studied and still have no idea what the answer is. So let's start with the first one, encoding. Encoding is basically your brain deciding this information is worth keeping. And here's the problem, you can't encode something strongly if you are barely paying attention to it. When you are studying, your prefrontal cortex helps direct your attention while hippocampus helps bind different pieces of information into their memory trace. So if you are studying while distracted, exhausted, or checking your phone every few minutes, your brain isn't getting a clean signal that this information matters. Think of it like building a path through a forest. The more you use that path, the stronger and easier to follow it becomes. Your neurons work in a similar way. Repeated activity can strengthen the connections between them. That's where the famous idea comes from. Neurons that fire together wire together. But here's the thing. Simply looking at information over and over again isn't the same as actively building that pathway. Think about how most people study. You read the same page again and maybe one more time because it feels familiar. But recognizing something when you see it isn't the same as being able to remember it when the book is closed. Your brain needs to understand it, connect it to something you already know, and eventually try to pull it back out of your memory. That's why simply sitting there and absorbing information isn't always enough. And there's actually really interesting way to think about this, which is a banking theory. Brazilian educator Paulo described a similar problem decades ago. The basic idea was this: imagine a teacher simply putting information into a student's head, like putting money into a bank account. The teacher deposits the information, the student receives it. But that's not really how learning works. You can't just put information into someone's brain and expect it to stay there. You need to understand it, connect it to what you already know, and most importantly, be able to retrieve it later. This is where neuroscience gives us an interesting explanation. Passive learning tends to create weaker memory, while active engagement helps build stronger ones. So if you have been rereading your notes for hours and wondering why nothing seems to stick, this could be a part of the reason. But encoding is only the beginning, because even after your brain captures the information, it's still not completely safe. This brings us to second stage, which is consolidation. And this is the part students often overlook, because consolidation doesn't happen while you are sitting at your desk studying. A lot of it happens afterward, especially while you are sleeping. Think of a new memory as something that's still fragile. You have learned something, it's there, but it hasn't been fully settled into your long-term memory yet. Your brain needs more time to strengthen it, and sleep is a huge part of that process. During deep sleep, the hippocampus, which is a brain region and is heavily involved in forming new memories, reactivates certain patterns from your experiences during the day. It's almost as if your brain is quietly going back over what you learned. Those memories gradually become more connected with the knowledge already stored in other parts of brain. So while you are sleeping, your brain isn't simply switching off. It's doing some of the behind the scene works needed to stabilize what you learned. And this gives us pretty important lessons. Why all the classic all-nighters can backfire. You might think, if I stay awake for 5 more hours, I can learn 5 more hours of material. And technically, you may encode more information. But then you remove the time your brain needs to properly consolidate those memories. So you may walk into the exam the next morning thinking, I studied all night, I should remember everything. But your brain hasn't had the same opportunity to process and stabilize what you learned. So if you are sacrificing sleep just to squeeze in another few hours of studying, you might be working against your own memory. Now here comes the third stage, which is retrieval. This is simply your brain trying to pull information back out when you need it, like during an exam, a conversation, or an interview. Or when someone asks you, hey, remember what we talked about yesterday, and suddenly, nothing, blank. When you can't remember something, it doesn't necessarily mean the memory completely disappeared. Sometimes the information is there, but you can't just access it. So let's look at why memories can disappear so quickly in the first place. A German psychologist named Hermann became fascinated by the idea of forgetting. He wanted to know how quickly do we actually forget new information. So to understand this, he memorized thousands of meaningless 3-letter combinations. He used meaningless words because if he used normal words, he might already have associated with them. And what he found out became known as the forgetting curve. This basic pattern was surprisingly simple. We forget a lot quickly at first, then the rate of forgetting slows down. So imagine learning something today. At first, the memory can weaken pretty quickly, but if you reinforce it, the memory becomes much more stable. Sometimes another memory gets in the way. Imagine you are studying Spanish vocabulary, then immediately you start studying French. Some of those words may look similar or sound familiar. Now later you try to remember the Spanish word and the French word pops up into your head. This is something related to called as retrieval induced forgetting because your memories can sometimes compete with each other. When you repeatedly retrieve one memory, related memories can become harder to access. It's almost like your brain is saying these two memories are competing for the same space. Which one do you actually need? And this is particularly interesting for students who study several similar topics back to back. Your brain isn't necessarily deleting the old information. Sometimes it's simply making one memory easier to access than the other. So what actually helps? There are 4 things that you can do to avoid forgetting. Number 1, stop relying on rereading. Instead, try to remember the information without looking at your notes. This is called retrieval practice. Research by scientists found that the testing yourself can produce much better long-term retention than simply rereading the same material again and again. You don't have to wait for an actual exam. You can just test yourself while studying. Close the book, put your notes away, and ask yourself, okay, what do I actually remember? And try to explain the concept out loud. Write down everything you can remember, answer questions without looking at the answer first, then check what you missed. That's very different from simply reading the same page like 5 times or 10 times because now your brain has to go and find the information. And that effort is exactly what makes retrieval practice so powerful. And don't just study it once. You have to do it by spacing. Don't learn something once and then never look at it again. Also, don't cram everything into one night. Instead, separate your retrieval practice over several days. For example, learn something today, test yourself tomorrow, test yourself again a few weeks later or few days later. Each time you successfully pull that memory back out, you are giving your brain another opportunity to strengthen it. You can also try to explain it in your own words. Don't just copy the definition from your textbook. Close the book and ask, how would I explain it to someone who knows nothing about it? If you can explain it simply, you probably understand it. And if you can't, that's a clue that you need to go back and work on the concept again. And connect the new information to something you already know. Don't leave new fact sitting alone in your memory. Give it a connection. For example, if you are learning about long-term potentiation, connect it to the idea of a pathway getting stronger through repeated use. Now you have got something familiar to attach to new concept to. The more meaningful connections you create, the more ways your brain has to get back the information later. So forgetting isn't just one thing. Your brain has to encode, consolidate, and retrieve, and every step matters.